Hello there, everybody. Good news tonight, at least. The Knicks won tonight's game. So we're coming at you. Like I said, we're coming at right when the game's finished. I kind of timed it pretty well tonight because it was 10 o'clock that I changed it. I said 9:45, but then I changed it. So I apologize for that. But yes, we are live. I'm going to bring the guys in real quick so we can get this to discuss this very quickly. See? Okay. So let me bring in Craig and let me bring in Ty. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm less stressed now that they won.
True, right? Very, very true. So, all right, yeah. So these are always better. I mean, obviously the game should have been decided much sooner. They were up 25 at one point, and they wound up winning by 3. So typical.
Typical.
So just quick thoughts on the game. Ty, I'll start with you. Just give your quick thoughts on the game.
I mean, it's always the euphoria of being a Knicks fan. Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. You don't. I always say that Madison Square Garden handing out blood pressure medicine for free, or they either charge. They might start charging. I don't know. It's just these are the cardiac Knicks. There's no doubt about that.
So bad.
No sooner than you might think that you could sit back and be very comfortable knowing that a win may occur, and like clockwork, win a dog fight to the end. And once again, this has been the MO of playing at MSG and for this whole season and for every season so far under Tom Thibodeau. It's been a rough ride.
It really has. I know in the NBA nowadays, there's really no such thing as a game that's kind of in the bag because there's with the 3-point shot, it's so easy to come back nowadays. So it's very, very common that this happens. But I mean, I don't know if it's because this is the team I watch the most. It just seems like it happens to us all the damn time. So it's frustrating, it's annoying, but a win is a win, and they're a team that the Knicks are competing directly with for the sixth seed. So we did kind of discuss this last week, Ty, about that's kind of where we think the Knicks are going to be.
Yeah.
Like that's their ceiling in this season. Probably maybe 5, but 6 seems like that's the best they'll be able to do. So hey, they got the win. It's a team they had to beat. Now they beat them twice, I think. So
yeah,
they at least they could beat the Pacers. So I think that's a good thing to say. So Craig, quick thoughts from you about the game.
It's just maddening, man. I mean, like you said, a win is a win. It's just sometimes it feels like after a while, when they're up big, they have these mental lapses. And then sometimes it appears they also get in their head as well, like, oh God, it's going to happen again. And then that's probably it's human nature, right? To harp on things, especially if it keeps happening. It's like being in a bad relationship or being in really bad relationships, over a 10-year space or however long you know, dating age. You're always thinking about the worst that's going to happen because of the years prior, or just even simpler, making a copy of a copy of a copy. Every time you make a copy of a copy piece of paper, it gets more and more distorted. So that's what these comebacks mirror for me, and it's just frustrating. And they're just wasting these performances by Brunson. Like he's out there again. I'm not trying to be a stand for him, but it's obvious. They're wasted performances.
It is. It's very, very obvious. It's very true. It sucks because they are, he's pretty much living up to his contract. So it does kind of suck that when he has these good big time performances, they just, for whatever reason, they struggle to win or they lose. But it's not just him though. It seems the game where Barrett had the 46 as well. They lost that game.
Yep.
Like it seems to be a team-wide problem. So I don't know. what to do or how they could go about fixing it. But it's very bit. It's been an issue this season where a guy has a great game and they lose. So
It's always very curious because the one thing, I mean, Brunson seems like he's the leader now. I mean, you can kind of see that he is the focal point of the team as far as when things get rough, and they go to him. Even Julius is deferred down the stretch to Brunson, which makes me believe that his tough mindedness is something that the Knicks have needed, because Knicks never had a floor general in a very long time. But there's something still lacking. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, well, we always hark on the system, not having the lack of a system, a definitive system on offense. I don't know if it's that happens and they don't have something to fall back on philosophically. And then it becomes basically, here, Brunson take the ball, or here, RJ take the ball and make something happen. And I think that's when you may see, I mean, maybe I'm answering the wrong question. Maybe that's when you see the limitations of this team, because you're asking certain guys to come out of character to be not only playmakers, but finishers. And I don't know how many finishers we really got on this team. We got guys that maybe could be a product of a finisher, but not a definitive finisher. Maybe RJ Brunson. I don't think you have that same trust in Julius down the stretch. I mean, he's proven that no matter how great he's played, he's proven that he's one buffoonish play away from actually destroying the team. I mean, we've seen it tonight, a little bit, a glimpse that, although he's been on a very high stretch as far as this season, playing at an all-star level, you could see where he can get rattled. So I think the lack of a system to fall back on and having maybe one or two poised minds out there is all that the Knicks have, and that's probably why we see such ragged play, albeit having a leader on the floor.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a very, very good way to put it. This team is, they, like you said, they finally have a point guard in Brunson, but he's more of a scorer, right, than he's actually a facilitator. So, these big time performances, sometimes when he has them, maybe someone is not getting the touches they normally get, or the ball distribution isn't as good as it should be, and that hurts them in the long run. I don't know. It's been again, it's still, they're into the season now, so we're past Christmas, so we kind of have a more better idea of what they're going to be. But it's still something that still something they're probably working through. Who's going to be what at what time. I definitely want him with the ball in crunch time. I think that's whether he's shooting it or making the decision. But again, like tonight, the big assist, RJ had the big assist on Brunson's three that kind of put the game sort of out of reach, or gave them enough cushion so that they couldn't lose. So it's one of those two guys for me with the ball at the end, making the decision whether to shoot it, pass it, whatever. But if you look at most people will tell you that Randall's probably their best player, maybe Brunson, but I think most people would probably say overall Randall's still their best player. So kind of a weird dynamic that they have working right now there. Well, let's quickly go to this. RJ Barrett came back tonight. Was much better in the first half than in the second. He struggled a bit in the second shot, but he still, I mean, for a first game back, was pretty damn good. He was 9 of 23 from the floor. He had 27 points, 4 for 12 from 3, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 of 6 from the line. So he had a nice game, nice all-around game. So real quick, Craig, RJ's return. Are you looking forward to seeing how the team is now with all of them back, all 3 of them playing?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, it's always good to have one of your mid 3 in the lineup. He played very well in that second half. I'm sorry, the first half. Second half, he just looked like first couple years RJ Barrett.
He's missing shots.
Yeah, his shots were very just flat. Like, it's, again, I know his form and his release has gotten better, but it's still like this high arc, awkward, high release thing that's very awkward and painful to watch at times. So I think when the shot is when it's hitting the front of the rim like that or the side front of the rim, which is like I don't know if it's his legs or what, but I don't want to get all negative on the kid. Yes, I'm happy to have him back. um, he is a good playmaker, like you said, Eric. Like, I want him to. At the end of the day, I don't have a problem with him having the ball in his hands because he's getting to the point now where he can get to the basket and kind of suck the defense in, and now he actually has players around him where he can pass the ball to who can actually hit a three quickly when he is Randall, when he is Brunson, Grimes. Like he has people out there that you can trust that you pass the ball to them. They're going to make wide open shots, and that was a big wraparound swing pass he had to Brunson. Like that's always going to be a thing that's going to be there for them if they're in the game together. Because he's a good shooter, not a great 3-point shooter, but he's a good enough shooter to be able to hit that shot. And when he shoots, you're not like, right, like a Randall, right, or Barrett sometimes if he's on the receiving end of the shot. But it's good to have him back. Hopefully, this wasn't like an anomaly where the first game back he's pumping up with adrenaline, and then next couple games he kind of comes back to earth because he doesn't have his legs under him, right? But hopefully he's doing enough cardio and stuff just to keep while he was out to keep himself in some game shape.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we're. It's good to have all three of these guys back and playing now, and playing at, I want to say, past the kind of awkward period that the season, how the season began. So now we should start to see a little bit more of what these three guys are going to do going forward. It is still following the pattern though. Again, RJ had a good scoring game tonight. Randall really didn't. So I do think that that's still going to be an issue going forward. But what do you guys think? Since he's been such a good second half player, Ty, I'll turn to you. What do you think? How do you think his second half is going to play out?
I think it's going to play out like those games prior to his injury. I think what we saw I think it was the last 10 games or whatever from him after Drew did his work, his little magic to him. I think that's the RJ you're going to see. I think we saw tonight a little bit of the struggles of having rust also, probably not having his legs, like Craig said, he's not in basketball shape no matter how much cardio he does. Also, as they described, the splint that's on his hand, he still said he has pain with how the splint is positioned on his fingers, and because he still has to keep them straight, albeit it's on his right hand. So you got a little bit of a period before he gets fully acclimated back to maybe the level of where he was. But I expect him to be that guy that he was, like I said, leading into the injury portion, where he seemed to be rounding out his game a little bit more and shooting very high numbers from three. I think it was like 40-something% from three, 40 plus, I think it was. He was showing great signs. Once again, there's always Nick luck. Guys start excelling and looking great, and then an injury occurs or, some weird dynamic happens. And then, they almost got to be rebooted from day one again, and let's start over and get refreshed again. Obi, same way, got injured while he was starting to get a little bit better. So, but I expect him to have the same consistency. But I think the game will always be an up and down game for RJ due to the fact of the other components that are the major pieces on this team. When you got three guys who need the rock. They really do.
It's true.
Julius has been balling because he's been lit from 3-point range. But what we're seeing now, the 1 for 12, beginning with Milwaukee tonight was just bludgeon your eyes out bad, what he was doing. And he just looks so out of sort. And so I don't know if you're ever going to get all three of these dudes maxed out playing at a high level. I think if you did, you would see they would probably be the 4th seed. If you could get all three of those dudes to really max out and the kind of defense this team is capable of playing, because they got the little pieces in play, the great role players, although I think they need a little bit more punch consistency off the bench. But a guy like RJ, I think you're going to see him up and down, even if he may have those games with those same exact numbers, because it's not a great fit. This is a work in progress as far as a fit. So I don't know. I mean, I expect him to be the player he was prior to the injury, though.
Yeah, I think that's that's kind of what we need. I mean, ideally, one of these guys is going to get traded. One of the
Yeah.
two of them.
Mhm.
I have to say that that's going to be the case. I can't imagine they keep both of them
Mm-mm.
when, like we've talked about, they're repetitive. We said many times they're repetitive.
Yeah.
Like both guys do the same thing, and then um, one is diminished when the other one plays well because they're both similarly need the ball. So it
Hmm.
kind of like it's not a good makeup for the team
Yeah.
going forward. So I feel like they need to do something there. I don't know if they're uh, going to, because the Knicks never do what they should do. So I don't know if they're going to do this. I
I don't.
just
Yeah.
the more I watch them play together, it's obvious. Like there was a play tonight where Randall had the ball top of the key.
Hmm.
No, right by the 3-point arc, so a little bit further out.
Uh,
And RJ cut through the lane. He was wide open. There was nobody, and Randall looked at him and didn't throw him the ball. And I'm
yeah.
sitting there, and I'm like, that was an easy bucket. That would have been 2 points,
That's a bucket.
easy.
Easy bucket.
And he just completely ignored him. And you see stuff like that with him. It's not always just with Barrett either. Sometimes he ignores Brunson. He doesn't ignore quickly. He loves quickly. He will pass quickly the ball all the time. He just has like a sixth sense to find this kid, and bam, could be double team. He don't matter.
It's very weird. Like I know Craig had brought up earlier about him. It was like tonight when watching the game, it was like his vision was so bad. It was like the Pacers knew it was bad. Like they zeroed in on him, and it was like he won't figure it out. He won't figure it out. And he, for the longest time, he held the ball, then he jumbled the ball, and he's still looking. And then all of a sudden, when the branches of the tree started extending, and the guys got their hands up, and he's like, "Ruh-roh, I'm in a lot of trouble here." And then when you don't have his teammates willing to go get the ball from him because they're expecting, well, he's going to find us. His vision can easily become braille after a while when he gets pinned in the corner and he's like he can't feel his way through to find whoever's on the floor. I mean, he needs what was it? Facial software recognition to find his teammates because he can't see no Nick. When they pin him in the right angle, his vision's gone. And he's a little alligator arm dude, like that commercial. Almost got it.
So true.
He did a play tonight. He was trying to pass it, and I knew I said he's turning it over. It's like it was telegraphed so much. I saw it. So I'm like, I know the Pacers saw it because I'm like, oh, that's a turnover. As soon as he threw it, I was like, oh, that they're picking it. They're taking it. They're gonna take that because it's like he was unsure, and then he doesn't have the feel of the game. Great passers, they're seeing the plays happen, a couple of steps ahead of time. And then you need a little bit of the athleticism to make those passes also. It's not just as simple. I think a lot of people might think that making a bounce pass is just going to get there. Well, not in this league. You can't just make a standard, I'm going to make a chest pass. No, you've got to put some whip on that ball. And, because the speed of the game is happening at that kind of pace. So he's just not that dude for that. And that was the one thing I noticed like tonight. I mean, we think we must hark on Randall because we dislike him. It's just more so it's watching the dynamic of the game that you can see when RJ, albeit when he didn't have it, when Brunson was on the floor and Grimes and all those guys, they were finding each other though. That was the thing. Like their IQs are a little bit to the point where they know this play is about to happen. Let me move here to get this guy open, or maybe cut here. And this is going to give us an advantage. When Julius is on the floor, he ISOs. And then when he gets wide to think he has to score. Like he was making up for the last game. That's what tonight's game was about, in my opinion. When I first saw him come out, I was like, oh, he's going to make up. He wants to let people know he doesn't shoot 1 for 12. So his whole MO is going to go out to try to prove something tonight. And it's like, dude, you're already an all-star candidate. People already respect your game. Just go out and play within the system. So I don't know. If I'm taking someone off the team, it's just for continuity purposes. I'm taking I want to keep the smartest guys on this team. That's who I want to keep on this team. I don't care about whether you're an all-star caliber talent. The smart guys win a lot more in the end than the goofy guys with a lot of talent.
Yeah, it's true. And the Pacers doing a good job of blitzing tonight too. I think in the second half they figured out like I think it was a combination of two things. Like the Knicks were getting in their heads when it came to getting trapped and getting blitzed, and the Pacers just did a really good
Yeah.
job at doing it. And they were doing it to everyone. Brunson, God, I hate
Yeah.
McConnell. Aaron Randall, like they just were. I feel like they really honed in on those two guys when it came to
Yeah.
blitzing,
Mhm.
and it was just that, and then the Knicks were just scared, right?
Yeah. They got shook.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just hate.
Yeah,
I hate the Pacers.
Man, I used to want them to get McConnell.
No, I would love.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, listen. I can be honest and fair enough to say. I mean, I would love to have him on the Knicks, but when he's playing against you, you just absolutely hate him. Like he's
Yeah, he's a
annoying.
pest. He's
Just
a pest.
annoying.
Yeah.
He's annoying. Like he has a very punchable face too. So
He's definitely a pest. I agree with that. But he's one of those guys who,
Yeah.
not a star in the league, but he just
Yeah.
he comes out and he just annoys you and hits big shots or makes big plays, and you're like, why is this guy beating us? But then
Yeah.
that's what happens. So I agree with that. He's very, very much that guy. So it's a good sign. I guess now what? They lost the last game. They won this game.
Sort of a 500 team. That's what I think they're going to be.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's a home game. They got to win their home game, so get better at home.
Did you hear that statistic? I think Walt threw it out. Like the games, like well, I don't know if he threw it out, but he was saying how many games. Could you imagine if this team had won even half of their home games? They would be. You know how far up. This is the maddening part about watching this team, and I think that's why it's hard for me personally to fall in love with them. Because of games like tonight, like you watch a game like tonight, Halliburton's down. The first thing you're thinking, hey, their best player's gone. Now, what tends to happen when those things happen? Yeah, a lot of guys step up, and they on the other team, like, well, we play ball too, So they, next man up mentality happens, and you got to expect that as a team, as the opponent, the opponents or whatever from your opponents. But we're up by 25 with Halliburton not having a great game. This door should be completely closed. So when you watch them, the door, you started watching it, got ajar, and we all, from the rumors is that the Pacers fourth quarter is their time. So what's going to happen. But it's the fact that they did that without their best player. That should not happen in the Garden. You've got these guys, the Undertaker's come out with the urn, with Paul Bearer, and it should be rest in peace at that point. This should be a dead subject. No one should be rising from the dead from the Pacers. And lo and behold, you get Buddy Hield, who had an off night until the fourth quarter. You got all these guys starting to cook, and they get scrappy, and the Knicks kind of fall back. And it's like, you can't trust that. You can't trust that team. Like, the full-on bet on that, they're going to be great, because when you can't guard home, the road, I mean, it's great that you can do it on the road, but in the playoffs, that's not happening on the road that easy. If we're talking about playoff aspirations for this team, you got to know that what we're seeing in the regular season is definitely not going to work in the postseason. So it's like, these guys are, it's hard to trust what you're seeing on the floor, because they're not bringing a full repertoire. Like, you got to protect home in the playoffs, and the Knicks have been horrible. It's horrible. If they won 50% of their home games, you're talking about a team that probably win 50 games this year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's insane, and you can't do it.
This is Joe. I don't know why it still says Facebook, but he's going to the Knicks game on Monday, apparently. So,
well, who they're playing on Monday? It's
a Martin Luther King game.
Is Martin Luther King?
Pacers. No, the Raptors. Sorry.
Oh,
is it again?
Yeah, they got some weird schedule with the Bulls and the Raptors this year. They like playing them very close to each other.
I hope
backs almost.
Hope Siakam doesn't have another 50-point game.
So annoying.
He's from Cambodia, loves Martin Luther King too, I guess.
Everybody loves Martin Luther King.
Yeah, it's but see, once again, we're going back to a game where used to be the greatest thing playing. That's usually always falls around my birthday, so it's really funny. I used to try to go to the games for Martin Luther King game. But it's funny though when you think about it. you can't feel that great about going and watching these games. There used to be a time where you knew it'd be a battle, but the Knicks might come out with more victorious than not victorious. You don't know now. You really don't know. And this team is very talented as far as the old teams that we used to have to watch and dread through. And to know that they have this limit, this cap on whether they can be great at the Garden is just not good.
It's true. I mean, that's a very good point. When it comes to like MLK Day used to be one of those things. I remember that you would listen. When I was in school, in high school, I would like kind of have my radio at the time, my little Walkman, and I'd be listening to the game on the radio while I was in school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a fun game to follow along because it was during the day and it was a weekday. So it was very, very. It's always been a cool game to be a part of. Obviously, the history behind it.
Yeah.
With the Trent Tucker 3 and Bulls and. But that's probably the most notable one that happened. It changed the way the clock now.
The rule, the Trent Tucker rule. Yep.
Yeah. So it changed that as well. So it was kind of a landmark game, and it's because they used to play it. It used to be every year. I remember. Then a couple of years the Knicks didn't have the game at home.
Yeah.
Now I think it's back again.
I think it's back. It's probably because we were irrelevant.
Yeah. So, but that game, Joe, that's cool, man, that you're going.
Yeah, very cool, Joe. Hopefully you bring us some luck against the Raptors.
Yes, should be cool.
The last thing I didn't want was just to turn into a Halliburton, we did it for him game. Like when he went out, because when you saw before the game, oh my God, they're asking about the Wally Zerbiak thing, blah, 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 blah. All right, that's over. You're bringing it up. And then, whatever. But then, I feared the most besides the loss, like I said, was if they would have came back and won this game without him. Oh, well, we had to do it for our wannabe all-star. I can just see it now.
Oh, yeah.
It's nauseating.
He's going to be an all-star. I don't think
no, he will be, but not right now.
I thought that he the thing about, and I like Halliburton. I think he would have been great for the Knicks. I think the thing is, I think he's a little bit overhyped in this regard. Not that he's not a good player. I think he's overhyped with the nostalgia around the Knicks passing on him. I think that made him. That's sort of like what he is to the NBA and to the media, is the guy the Knicks passed on and they can't figure out what he's topping. Like he becomes more of this narrative regarding that as opposed to being a talented guard, a talented young guard. He's very good at passing the ball, clearly. Leads the league in assists. I would have loved to have him on the Knicks. It would have been great, but they didn't choose him. But this is always has to be like, and I dislike Wally for even stirring the pot more and making this a narrative around the Knicks that, without we've got our point guard now. Yeah, it could have been Halliburton. It made it more sense being that you didn't know what to do with Obi Toppin. So, yeah, all of this would work out great. But he's on the Pacers. They got him. He's doing his thing. We didn't get him. We now have an answer at the one.
Right.
I just don't think that this should be his narrative every time he comes in the Garden. Like, because he didn't have a great game. And he's had that one moment in Sacramento, which was a great game, but he came off the bench in Sacramento, and it was almost like, the Knicks passed him up, and he was pissed off. He was a little butthurt that the Knicks didn't draft him. I understand it. But we're 4 years removed now. Does this have to be the narrative every time he comes in the Garden? He's us against Halliburton, the guy that we passed over. We don't know what Obi Toppin is. Obi Toppin might be a great player. We don't have a coach that plays him, so we don't have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
But, we're seeing Halliburton excel because Carlisle's willing to play him. Maybe if he's in Sacramento, maybe he's not even playing. Maybe he's coming off the bench still. Maybe he's not the primary ball handler in Sacramento, being that they got Darren Fox and whoever else they might want to put ahead of him. But that's my point, is like he should not be the focal point of this story when he comes into the Garden. Like, it's Halliburton versus the Knicks. Yeah, he's not at that level yet. And no offense to him, he's a fantastic kid. But it's not. Don't make him Reggie Miller. They're like trying to bring him up to like he's like Trae Young, coming into the Garden, and here comes Trae, who's bowed on the Knicks, and and Trae's had some not too good games recently, so it's not even, don't conjure up a rivalry that's not even there by putting these false narratives around him. Brunson outplayed him tonight. I said to you guys in private, I said he looked like he's a little butthurt tonight. I don't know if he twisted his ankle or his knee. He looked like he was butthurt because his performance was a little butthurt. He didn't play all that great. And as opposed to going and saying these narratives, I'm coming. Oh, I remember. Well, you didn't remember that well.
Well, McConnell was the one who was kind of talking.
But his game is not even like that. Halliburton's game is not that. Oh, I'm gonna go drop 40 on you tonight. He's a great player. He's a great That's like he's Penny Hardaway. He's not Penny Hardaway. He's not coming out and giving you 30 and getting 15 assists. He's not that dude. He's a whole different. He's a great floor leader. Great floor leader can find his. He's got all the tools of a really good player. But they're acting like Halliburton's like, oh, I'm gonna go out and drop 50 tonight. Like he's not. That's not his game. Let the dude play his game. Leave all these narratives about him being him versus the Knicks. Both these teams are not relevant yet. So you didn't talk about
dude, but they still. I mean, look at Steph Curry's won how many championships, and they still talk about that when he comes to play the Knicks. They still talk about how they didn't get him in the draft. It was one pick away. Yeah. I mean, they still talk about how he wanted to be a Knick, all that other stuff. I mean, I swear it's the same narrative. It's been this way for 25 years. Everyone wants to be on the Knicks. Every player says they want to be on the Knicks, but they never come here.
They never come here.
Right? Yeah. And then every draft pick that we don't get or bypass, that guy wanted to be a Knick too. Brandon Jennings, another one. Brandon Jennings wanted to be a Knick. Remember?
He wanted to be a Knick so bad. Then he came in. He
that's what it was.
He couldn't even spell Knick when he got here. But
so like it's just things like that. They like to use the media, the Knicks, because of the media market and to get exposure and stuff, which I get. That's fine. But it's
Wally doing it because it made for that fodder. That's my whole thing. It's like he doesn't make that little. And I understand what he was trying to get at is, oh, this guy's getting credit. What about our guys? I get that, but you don't. You can campaign a different way without putting down that dude. Because then it became like, oh, it goes back to the day one. Oh, the Knicks didn't draft Halliburton. No, Wally should have just shut his mouth. That's all he should have did. Nobody's worried about Halliburton now. I mean, why would we even care about it?
Well, I'm sure I don't know where he was on this list, but the Ringer did their top 100 players, and I do know that Tyrese Halliburton was probably higher than all four of these guys. So
it's crazy.
The Knicks have four guys on the team. Brunson was picked 51st, Randall 54th, Barrett 90. Hold on,
I think he was 90.
90, yeah, and then Mitchell Robinson was 96th.
Yeah.
So I really don't have too much of a gripe with. I didn't see the whole list, to be honest.
Yeah,
so I don't know who the other guys were, but I would say that that's around where I'd have them anyway. At least right now, that's around where I'd have those four guys in the top rank of top 100. So, like when people always ask, the Knicks don't have a top 20 or top 30. No, they might not even have a top 40 player, depending on the list. And Brunson is right at 51. So he's like right there in that mix of players. And so if you look at this and you take this list at face value, again, it's the Ringer. It's not, everyone. It's not like some official thing. It's just one publication's list. Where they are kind of makes sense, right? Like if you believe this talent assessment, where the Knicks are in their standings shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Right, that's what I think. I think it kind of bears out that fact.
I agree. I mean, I think when you look at the Knicks' best player, I mean, it's supposedly Julius. We'll say Julius. I'm going to say it's Brunson. I'm gonna. I get what how Julius is. I mean, the stats are going to say different. Are going to be different than my argument for Brunson being the best player. What I mean by that is when you look across the board and you pull up the stat sheet, it's like. On paper, Julius Randle's our best player. You're going to say that. You watch, the numbers, stack up. He's 20 plus points. He's 10 plus boards. He's getting 6 assists. He's just filling up every stat sheet. But our best player is Jalen Brunson because he can get those stats, and he's our most clutch player towards the end. When the ball is in his hand, we've won games because of him more than Julius's play in the end. So. Brunson's rated what? 51st?
Yeah.
We are mid-team.
Yeah.
We are a team at 500. Our best player is a 500 player. That makes sense. If you do 51, we're a couple games above 500. he's basically the barometer of our team when you look at it. So where they have him lined up makes a lot of sense as far as our best player is probably getting us above 500. That's what it is, because I don't think our best player is Julius Randle, in my opinion, and it's not RJ Barrett. It's Jalen Brunson. Where he goes, his team is going to go. So if we've won games and had moments, those guys have been able to put up pretty good stats at times and great stats at times. But the consistent factor is at the end of the game, Jalen Brunson has the ball in his hand. He's been the one that they've touted to go and try to win the games for them, and he's come up somewhat short, and he's come up somewhat great at times. 51 sounds like the team we have. A big mid three or whatever they call him. I mean, that's what we are. He's a big mid three. Yeah, he's a mid. I mean, he's 51 out of all. I mean, that's not bad when you think about it. If you're better than 49 of the players in the league, that's not the worst case scenario.
Sure. It's not.
Whereas Mitchell Robinson is like sitting there like, dang, I'm only ahead of 4 people. I mean, literally. Whereas Brunson saying, is he the best point guard in the league? No. Is he the worst point guard in the league? No. So he's right where he needs to be, and the team is follow suit with the record when you look at it.
All right, so Craig, what do you feel with this list, with the 4 Knicks on this list? Are you in agreement with where they are? You think someone should be higher? I know you think Randall shouldn't even be on the list. So
No, I'm not that guy. He should definitely be on the list. I just don't. I think Brunson's a little too. He should be higher, man. I'm sorry. How many really good point guards are there in the NBA right now? Can we name them?
It's fair. I mean, it's a fair point.
Is he a top five point guard in the league right now? Top 10? Or how many other really good point guards there are?
Let's do that. When you think about the top 10, I'm posing this to you, Greg. Right. We're talking about.
I didn't open up a can of worms.
The can is open. We're gonna go fishing now. So look at it like this: we have Jalen Brunson. If we do, is he top 20 or top 10? That's the question. Now we're gonna
in terms of point guard in the NBA.
Yeah, just say his position. Do you think he's a top 20 player, or do you think he's a top 10 point guard?
I'm probably being a little biased, but I think he's a top 10 point guard right now, presently constituted.
So list your 10. Say if you can leave him at 10, or you can put him wherever you think you should put him. Where do you think he ranks? Because Eric and I had this talk before about the Eastern Conference. I think we were off the grid when we talked about it. I said, who's better than Brunson in the East? This is when before he even.
Okay, so let's just do. I'll do the East just to make it a little easier. Trae Young better. Kyrie better.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the list up.
Holiday.
I think he's better overall. So yeah, I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Halliburton is better.
LaMelo?
Yeah. So what is that? Where are we now?
So that's 4 with LaMelo. I would say Halliburton, yes, but you say you don't think so. So you could push him down the list.
How about Van Fleet? Pretty good. So what is that? Fred Van Fleet.
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
Do you think Van Fleet is better than?
I don't think he's better. I'm just saying in the East I would put him.
He'd be in the mix.
So we have LaMelo being 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Darius Garland.
Keep Brunson at 5 right now, unless someone can jump him. So
Darius Garland, you can jump him.
That was the guy that Ty, you and I were talking.
Yeah, we were talking
about with Brunson, that Garland and Brunson.
And if you count Mitchell, I mean, I know he's a scorer, but
well, if you count Mitchell, he could be number 1. He could be the best point guard in the East. If you count him as a point guard,
so I'll for this argument to for less bias, I'll put him as a point guard.
But you put his partner as a point guard. You put Darius.
Yeah, you did put Garland there.
So Garland to me is more the point guard. I mean, not to change your mind on it.
What about Murray? I mean, he's another one. Did he play? He played point guard in San Antonio.
Yeah, I think for the sake of this exercise, we need to just pick one of the guys from each of those.
Yeah, one of each team.
All right. So, all right, we start over. So we got in no particular order right now. So since Mitchell's better, screw him.
Keep Garland as the point guard.
Garland, Young, Kyrie, and this is no in particular order.
Holiday.
Holiday, LaMelo, and Van Fleet, and then Brunson. But that's not in any particular order.
Mhm.
So
It's not that different than what the Sporting News did a breakdown of these before the season, and those were the guys they had clearly ahead of Brunson. They
so
also
what
had
is it?
Halliburton. So
Okay, for the sake of not being biased, we'll put him on the list.
well, I mean, if you're going, but again, this was before the season. I think things have
Yeah.
changed right now because
Mhm.
you can. I mean, as great as LaMelo is as a talent, he was hurt this season, so I don't know if you want to factor in injury. Or are we just talking talent? If we're just talking talent, then yeah,
I'm just talking talent.
okay,
I wanna
yeah.
be-
I think he would be around 5 or 6. I think that's fair to say.
Mhm.
And again, these things are fluid because who
Mhm.
knows? Like some guy could be have a go on a great run and jump over him for a little while. But for what the Knicks needed, he's been
Yeah.
all we could have asked for, right?
Absolutely.
Like for what they needed, I think he's been all they could have asked for.
Mhm.
Again, I'm with Ty. Is like I wish he would be a little bit more of a creator for other guys.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this many times. My one big bugaboo with him is he dribbles with his head down when he drives, so he
Mhm.
can't see guys cutting open. That bothers me a little bit. I wish he'd dribble with his head up a little bit more. But I mean, I'm nitpicking the guy. I mean, he just had 44 points and then 35 points back to back. I mean, it's hard to be upset
Yeah.
with the production he's giving them, and they clearly were better. They clearly missed him when he was out.
Yeah.
You could tell in those games. They clearly missed his performance. So yeah, like when you look at that, if you're looking at who their best player is, it's probably him. But this in a overall 100 players, Craig, where would you put Brunson since you think he's too low?
Oh no, now you're really putting me on.
Just
Yeah.
pick, you have from 1 to 49. So
Yeah.
go with
We
that
won't make you name
the
the
guy.
45 ahead of him. We just want to know where you put him. Though.
Yeah, I just want to know. You don't even have to say the exact number. You give me a range. You can give me a range and say that range.
I'm going. You know what? I can't. I was going to say I was going to do it based off scoring average, but I can't do that because you got Darius Garland behind him.
I mean,
no, I don't want to do that. That's not fair to everybody else. So,
it's a little bit of a bias, everyone too, because
and I don't.
that's his boy.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be biased.
I'll be biased. Go on. Be a Wally in this one.
Not the little computer.
30.
Yeah, not Wally.
30? Okay.
Yeah,
I could buy that. I could buy that. I think you could make an argument that he could be, especially the way he's played this year, what he's meant to the Knicks. You could put him in that range. I wouldn't be too upset with that kind of a thing. Putting him in 30, maybe 30, 35 in that range, but that's fair.
I think everybody else is fine. I think everybody else where they are is fine.
You know, I like that too. Is I factor in a couple more things with Jalen Brunson. You know, I'm big on the postseason more so than the regular season. I always think this is just fluff and nutter. You know, the real Cape Crusaders come in during the postseason. I take that guy over a lot of guys in the postseason. So my ranking for him, the regular season, they always say regular season you make your name, postseason you make your fame. That's just really what it comes down to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, if you're asking me what guard would I take over him if we're in the playoffs now, not many, because he's shown in the Western Conference.
He's proven that he can do it. Yeah.
The guy he's heartless. He has no heart when it comes in the playoffs because, you know, we're looking at a guy like Mitchell you wanted to put a little higher, you know, saying if he was a point guard. Well, he got the burn notice. The USA television show, he got the burn notice last year in the playoffs because Brunson gave him the burn notice. You know, he burn noticed a lot of guys. Devin Booker. I mean, the list goes. I mean, hey, what up, fam? But let me tell you, he gave a burn notice. He gave a burn notice to a lot of the Western Conference until he got to the finals. And even then, he gave them some headaches in Golden State. So we're talking about a guy with that old word moxie. I mean, he's got it all. When it comes
Mitchell gave him a shout out on Twitter tonight. So
what's that?
Mitchell gave him a shout out on Twitter tonight.
The dude's, I mean, he's a bad boy. And I mean, like I said, I'm basing on when I think
Playoffs.
it's really going to matter. I think he's one of those guys that maybe during the regular season it might not be the prettiest pick, but I think he will show his worth in a greater way when the game's on. He clearly shows that he doesn't care. Like there's no fear in that guy. He's not backing down. I mean, he's hit some shots for the Knicks. I mean, unfortunately, the rest of the team, or I'm going to say partly coach, partly team, has coughed up these wins. It made them in the losses. But Jalen Brunson hasn't been really a major part of why they've lost. I mean, he's missed some free throws down the stretch, but I think about the games they wouldn't have won without him, though. So, he's a bad boy. I'd like to see now. What I would like to see a matchup between him and Trey in the postseason. That would be pretty interesting.
Well, that's probably the one thing you could say about him is that a guy who's been such a great free throw shooter, he has missed big free throws. If you want to put a detractor, put something in there, say it's been surprising, it's been that. All right, so I'm quickly gonna go. I'm looking at the list that the Ringer had of the 100 players. Guys, Tyrese Halliburton is 20.
No, I'm sorry. See that?
Wow, 20 they have him?
20. He's ahead of Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, Trey Young, Kyrie.
Sorry. That is.
Who wrote those? Somebody who was Kevin O'Connor from Indiana? Is that what you wrote those?
No, they say it's pretty much because he's the best passing floor general in the league, and he's a great shooter, which he has been, and an emerging team leader. So they have him there. I found it weird. I know Kawhi Leonard's been like weird. He's always been weird, but he's even more weird this year. But I don't know how you have him over him. I know Trey Young isn't having a great year, and at least from three. Everywhere else he's been great.
Yeah, he's just shooting. And he has a bad shoulder. I mean, we got to
I don't disagree with anything they said about his characteristics, but that doesn't mean he should be the 20th best player in the league.
Yeah,
because of that.
He's not the 20th best player in the league.
I mean, Lauri Markkanen is 33.
And don't get me wrong, Lowry's balling, but that's being a prisoner of the moment. Because he wasn't 30 before this stretch in Utah. He's 30 now in this current. It's like they wait to write this after 3 months into the season on who.
Yeah, it's where we are at this moment.
That's
it's where
Tyrese shouldn't be 20 even at this moment.
Right now,
there's definitely 20 players better than Tyrese Halliburton, and there might be 30 better than him. Who's number one? Was it Luka?
Giannis is one. Jokic is two.
I'm sorry.
Giannis shouldn't be number one in my opinion. I'm just gonna be real. If anything, I'm putting Jokic because Jokic is probably gonna.
Jokic should be first.
Jokic is gonna win his third MVP unless there's some media bias that goes into it. He's going to be a 3-time MVP. Then I would follow maybe Luka Doncic after that.
Embiid
at 2, Embiid at 3. Embiid should be no lower than 2 if he was. But I just don't. It's just something about him. I don't know.
He's 6th.
Ja. You can put Ja Morant in there.
Was Ja Morant? He's got to be about
11.
5. He's 11.
Yeah, they actually have him after Zion, which I don't understand.
Oh, that's garbage. That's garbage.
What is it? Some 25-year-old? I'm sorry.
No. Kevin O'Connor's. He's not.
It's 4 NBA writers. It's
4
Kevin
writers.
O'Connor, Rob Mahoney, Kyle Mann, and Michael Pina.
Was that?
No, never heard of him.
He said Mahoney or Baloney? Was it Baloney?
Yeah, it's definitely both.
Let me tell you that is a hard. Even without, if I did that list, even if I was doing that in good faith and not putting any bias, I'd probably have the Knicks players where they are. It wouldn't, if I'm being in all fairness, there's no way without bias. I don't got to dislike any of those players. There's no way you put some of those guys where those guys got them. It makes absolutely no. You wouldn't take Jaylen Brown now?
Having
Desmond Brown over Halliburton.
Having Desmond Bain 34th is high to me. Having
Draymond Green is 34.
Yep, and Draymond Green is 35th, which to me now there's no way he's that high anymore.
They're putting role players as top
some of the top
40 players, and they're not even like really leading their team.
I mean,
Now-
they have Mikal Bridges ahead of like LaMelo and. I mean, I like Bridges. Don't get me wrong, I do.
No, Bridges is good, but I don't know if he's better than. But Bridges plays. I mean, I'm not going to knock him. That game he played last night against Golden State tells a lot about who Mikal Bridges is. But you're putting these. I'm like Craig. You're putting role players and utility guys ahead of stars. It's like, are you serious? Halliburton is not. I mean, I don't
He's
know
not
which
that
more
smart.
worth egregious. You said Halliburton or this last number. That's just crazy.
I don't think he's the 20th best player in the league. I can't get down with that. That's just
Those numbers are really bad numbers. That's a list to get us talking and get mad over it. That's what that
it
list
has to be.
Because
It's like saying Beyonce is the 5th best singer of all time.
I feel like
Again,
Celine Dion now, right? Is everybody feel
like it's like I feel like now they're just doing it because they know they're going to piss people off. They know they're going to annoy people. And people like us talk like you're right. Like people like us talking about that because there's no way you think he's the 20th best player in the league or Draymond is the 35th best player.
Draymond is definitely not. Draymond almost should be where Mitchell Robinson is at this point in his career. I'm just being real. I mean, he's not been the same. I mean, but this comes off probably the breath of Kerr saying he's the best defender he's ever been around on any team.
Dennis
Rodman moved to North Korea when he heard that crap.
Scottie Pippen, dude, shut up.
Yeah, he played with Scottie Pippen.
And Dennis
Rodman. And Dennis Rodman, yeah, that's true.
And Bruce Bowen.
Like if you're basing
all right, see now this I'm gonna look at more disrespect. I don't care how this bad RJ started the season. There's no reason that Kevin Looney and Zubac and Alex Caruso, who I love Alex Caruso.
I love Elmer Fudd, but come on, man.
Come on. Really? Like, see, so yeah, this list, I don't know all the criteria. I don't know what they were looking at. I don't know what parameters they were using to decide this. But I mean, they have Cade on the list and he's hurt. So how can he be on the list right now? He's not even playing. He's out for the year. So how do they have him on the list? So yeah, so it's fun. Again, it's fun to talk about like we're doing right now. It's a lot of fun to talk about these things because it's just stupid and it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I mean, if I wish I can get Kevin O'Connor on the show, we could have a talk and be like, dude, what the hell went into this?
My first question to Kevin is going to be the same one Joe Clark had. You smoke crack, don't you? Because you got to be
Sam's,
you smoke crack, don't you? Because Kevin, you smoking some drugs. If you got that list together, I mean, come on, my dog. No. That's terrible.
All right, so speaking of smoking crack, so the early voting came out for the NBA All-Star team last week.
Wow.
Yeah. After we did the show. So we did the show Wednesday. I think it was Thursday we got these numbers. And I'm looking at the list, and no Nick is on it, but Derrick Rose is one of the leading vote getters. He doesn't even play.
That's just crazy.
I mean, look, I get fans have favorites, and you want fans to be a part of the voting process, but this is ridiculous. This guy doesn't even play. And I can't anymore. Like when I was a kid, yes, I used to love going. Like we didn't have the internet back then, so I couldn't go online and type in. I had to like get a ballot, fill it out, check it off. You know, like a Scantron, you fill in all the damn circles and stuff, and then the sign up. Like that was fun part of doing it. Or if you had like a magazine, they're like, oh, there's a ballot in the magazine, or cereal box. Sometimes, oh, get your NBA ballot. Like they did all this weird kind of marketing stuff, and that's how you had to vote. Or go to a game, obviously, and then you could vote there. But, I mean, it's just way too easy now for kids to sit and just vote like 50 zillion times for one guy who doesn't even deserve to be on the list. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
How many votes does he have? I'm trying to find it.
I'll look it again because, like, when I first
saw it,
was
alarming that he even got I love D Rose, but it's an alarming. It also goes to let people know how the Knicks are viewed, because he's probably not even on there because he's a Knick. He's on there because he's Derrick Rose.
Right.
Because if you were following the Knicks, which we've seen like a lot of misinformation come out about the Knicks, like you have broadcasters, you had what's his name, Alien Head, what's his name, Richard Jefferson. Richard
Oh.
Jefferson. He couldn't even get who won. Yeah, you ever see the TV show Alien? He looks like that. Yeah,
I mean,
it was like a pinto bean head. That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
But he's whatchamacallit. He was one of the people like, oh, someone won 6 man. He got just a fountain of misinformation as it relates to the Knicks. It's like it's really sad that no one probably knows. They know how to make jokes about the Knicks, but they don't know how to make factual information, present factual information about the Knicks. Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are the stars of this team, if you want to say. But nobody knows that. It's like, and it's really sad because we've become such a butt end of all the jokes that we're really good. We're a decent team now. We're a respectable team.
right.
Yet the only person that we got on that is noted is Derrick Rose because he's Derrick Rose. Not because he's a New York Knicks Derrick Rose. Because he doesn't play. He's barely in the league right now. When you think about how he's played so sparingly. He's like the cheerleader on the Knicks now.
As of January 5th, he's ninth and has 220,000 votes.
Wow.
Yep. And then in the Western Conference, the other guy who stood out to me was Austin Reeves on the Lakers.
Looking at that right
at least
now,
he played.
what?
Yeah, at least he played.
played.
At least Austin Reeves played.
But that was the other guy. I'm like, what are we doing? So, I mean, we've known this has been an issue for years with the All-Star game. It should be voted on by the players and the coaches, and that's it. The players should get a vote. You can vote. I mean, they play the game, so they should have a vote of the guys who they think are the best. And the coaches, of course, because they have to game plan for these players. So they would know, they know the best. And then if you want to have a fan component, that's kind of how the NFL does it now. For the Pro Bowl, they have a third players, and a third coaches. And then that's how they come about with the answer. So if they want to keep a fan vote, then let the fan vote be for something they do on All-Star weekend. Right? Like, let the fan vote be for, the celebrity game. You want a fan vote? Let the fans vote for the celebrities they want to see in the game.
Or the dunk contest. I mean, that would be something good. That maybe they need to vote in the dunkers, which I think they should get rid of the dunk contest altogether. Let's just put that where it is. But my biggest thing is that the fan participation should be extremely limited to maybe you get to pick a reserve after they did all the starters and most of that and say, these guys are available. You get voted in maybe the tail end of the All-Star game. Like you pick the 14, 15 player or something like that. This is egregious. Derrick Rose probably was sitting there embarrassed that he got voted. Yeah.
I'm sure he was because he knows he doesn't deserve it. So I'm sure he was. There was no, other the other guys on the list, there was no one I was really like, oh, they shouldn't be on there. Banchero actually was 8th on the list for the Eastern Conference, which I thought was pretty cool. He's been very good. He's been as advertised, so it's nice that they have him on there. I think that was the only other guy that kind of stood out. I was like, oh, we have a rookie there. But other than that, I didn't have much issue with anyone else. Maybe having LeBron first, but what are you going to do? You can't really do anything about that. That's how the fan.
That's a given. He probably stuffed the ballot box himself.
Because he's not thinking about the scoring.
Yeah, that's the last thing is on his mind.
He's full of what.
I mean,
he's full of what, damn it.
The most unconscious guy. He doesn't. You know what I knew that dude was a little phony? He was in the Garden and he told someone he was going to score 50. You read his lips and he goes, I would never disrespect the game by saying that. I'm like, dude, you're on camera. You said 50 I'm going for. You can read his lips. It was as plain as day. So, of course, he doesn't want to catch Kareem. No.
It's horrible.
Why would he want to do that?
So there was a proposed trade rumor. I'm going to go put that out there now. Let's get to this portion of the show. There was a proposed trade rumor put out there for Obi Toppin between the Pacers that we just saw today, and there was all right. So it was O'Shea Brissett, who I don't even know, a first-round pick, and the Knicks get that, and then they trade Obi to the Pacers. Now, I'm beginning to think more and more that he is going to get traded.
Yeah, I think.
But would you guys be okay with just getting, because it really pretty much breaks down to a first round pick for Obi. Would you be okay with getting a first round pick from the Pacers?
Where would it fall? I
For
mean,
Obi? Well, you don't know right
so
now.
then no.
No.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's fair.
If I'm trading, it would be to a team like OKC for one of their picks.
Okay.
What I would trade them for.
The other guy we've heard about being dealt, there's rumors again always surrounding him, but it was Cam Reddish, of course.
Yeah.
And the latest rumors around that was that they would 2 second-round picks from the Lakers for Cam Reddish. Is that enough for Cam Reddish?
No.
It's not enough, but it's what's going to probably be what he's going to be two second rounders. He's not going to get you a first. The Knicks,
Unless it's for a bigger package, but they better get working on that.
he's going to have to be a throw-in. He's going to be, and he's not even a piece. He's a throw-in. He's going to be for contract right now, because what is the value of Cam Reddish? Unfortunately, the Knicks made his value lower than the Atlanta Hawks made his value, and there was nobody knocking in Atlanta for him. So the Knicks got him and made it worse, to the point where supposedly the rumors is that they had him and Tom Thibodeau had some sort of exchange that happened. I don't know what it was. You don't know what you're doing, Tom Thibodeau. Your defense sucks. What offense? I don't know what he could have said. He had quite a few things he probably could have mentioned to Tom's ear. That got him benched. You won't probably see this guy ever again in a Knicks uniform unless Tom gets fired. So his value's low. Now, obviously, you're going to sit there and see him as a guy who, teams may say maybe he's a locker room problem now.
Yep.
Yeah, who's going to trade for him? Nobody. Two second rounds you can get for him, and they're probably going to be protected.
Second round picks protected? I don't know about that.
I would use them as in a big. I think the Knicks are too, unless you get down to the point like with like a week left and you can't get it, you're not going to get anything done. But there should be no reason why he's not used as a something in a bigger package for like a Levine. Knock on wood. I know you guys don't want that, but just like
Screw that noise.
I know. And Begley mentioned Malik Beasley today. He didn't say that was something.
That's not too bad.
He didn't know. I don't want to misquote him because he kind of came at somebody today over that.
No, Pippen's not coming.
I wouldn't mind Malik Beasley. I don't know. The Knicks need a shot in the arm, and I think this is what happens every time with them, with this front office. They start to play well. They start to get some cohesion. They're scared to kind of look past that. And then I don't have to make any moves. Well, you do. You do have to make a move. You have to. I'm not saying it has to be something that where it's you're appeasing a fan like me, but you have to make some type of move because you're going to continue to tread water, right? I mean, that's essentially what you're doing right now.
But that's what they do. The Knicks have not given you any indication that they're willing to make a trade. And I'm not talking like they won't trade. I'm talking about a trade, like the trade that will shift the organization some sort of direction. What they've proven, they're willing to take minimal risk, which was the Derrick Rose trade for Dennis Smith and a second-round pick or whatever it was. They show that they've been willing. Oh God, damn it!
So I had to bring this up because, of course, Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean, I was gonna wait for Ty to finish, but I just showed his face, and Ty was like, "Damn it,
damn it!" No, absolutely not. No,
hold on a minute. They're not saying that he's up for trade to the Knicks. They're saying that he's available. There's another available guy.
They can't get him though because they just traded Alec Burks,
right?
So they can't get him.
So
OG is going to cost
a newbie as another guy.
I would put something in for.
But here's the two that they talk about for the Knicks. You already brought up Reddish, and again, Emmanuel Quickly's name keeps popping up.
Yeah.
And I think it's more because salary and they have to sign him, right? So,
I would not want to resign. I don't want to extend Quickly. That's the number one thing I don't want to do.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm being dead serious.
How you feel, Craig?
Even with how he's played, because he's played well recently.
Because again, right? I'm trying to parse my words carefully here. The
Told
Knicks
you
are
that.
scared. The Knicks are scared to look beyond that, right? Because it's what happens all the time. I mean, Eric, to the point that you made a couple years ago with Randall, they didn't have to do what they did with him,
Nope.
so they don't have to do what they. But
You're right. They don't.
they don't have to, and they will probably because he look at he's playing well, and then as soon as you extend him, there's nothing that says that he won't go back to being quickly. So
That's fair.
Well, you know,
that's my fear. I don't want them to get so stagnant and rest on their laurels. Oh, look what we're doing. We're developing players, and then you extend him, and then you're regretting it.
well, what is Leon Rose proven? One thing that he's done, and this is who he is.
Very
He's also proven that he's taking care of his people, much like he was as a agent. I'm going to take care of my clients. He treats the Knicks players like clients more than like assets.
which is fine in a certain regard, but this is not
Yeah, but
it's not your job.
It's fine if the talent warrants it. He should have not taken care of Julius after that debacle. He should have played him out. Same thing with Quickly. You see, like tonight's game to me, I thought we might have brought it up as a topic, but one of the things I noticed about like Quickly tonight. Where was Quickly tonight? Like we saw Quickly while he was starting. Like when he was starting, he's bucket getter. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He went back to that role. You didn't even know that he wasn't even the same player. Like he has in his mind, he's a starter. I don't think he has in his mind that he's wired to be on the bench for a long time. So if the Knicks invest in him and they don't have a full plan to put him somewhere in a starting lineup role, which he can't, because you're either going to sit Grimes or Barrett, and that's not happening. You're not sitting him. So if he takes care of him to be a six man and he won't flourish greatly as a six man, he wants to be like Maxey. He wants to be like a Maxey type player.
But he's not even as good as Maxey. Like
But
not even the same
you can't tell him
stratosphere.
that. He thinks he's Maximilian. He thinks he's that dude. Whereas he needs to go someone else to be that dude because he will never be that dude on the Knicks. You know, he's never given the opportunity to have the point guard starting role. They brought in Brunson. So when he brought in Brunson, that was basically telling Quickly have a seat. You're not that dude. But in his mind, he thinks he's that dude. That's been one of the offseason arguments that his camp believes that he's done all he's supposed to do and is not being rewarded for it. So you can't pay that guy. You can, but you shouldn't want to pay him because the productivity he's giving you off the bench, if it's got to be in a role like he was tonight, you're going to probably get the 9 points. You can get 9 points from any guy in the NBA. You can get 9 points from any guy coming off the bench.
He does seem like a guy who needs to be who plays better as a starter. He does.
Yeah.
His game. You would assume his game lends to being that spark plug guy off the bench.
Yeah.
But his demeanor and approach is different.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. I mean, I've said, like Craig, you brought it up, and you're right. You should not overpay your guys just because they have a contract coming up. Like that's not what you do. You pay them for what you think they're going to be going forward, not for and what they project to be for your team. Because again, he could go somewhere else and start and be, a high level starter for them. And so and that's what I mean. If another team sees him as that kind of a player, then it's organizational malpractice for you not to approach that trade and try and make that deal happen. So for me, when it comes to Emmanuel Quickly, I'm very much to the point now where it's okay. I would have tried to trade him when he was playing so well.
Yeah.
Try to move him when all those games were fresh in people's mind, because I mean, he does have value. He's not a bad NBA player.
Yeah, no, he has.
He has value. He's, is he really a starter? I don't know. And again, coming off the bench, he kind of has that point guard mentality, right? Like he's the backup point guard. Whereas when he was starting, he was the shooting guard, and
yeah,
you saw the difference, right? You saw what he could be when he just concentrates on scoring the basketball. So it's very, very much it would be very good. It'd be a very good move if they did move him and try and get what they could for him. Packaging him, maybe if there was a big deal out there to be had, you package him out there, maybe with Randall, or if they decide they wanted to move him, or if a player came that would balance the team out more, came along, you include him in something like that. I mean, I know we brought up Levine before. I want no part of Zach Levine. Not because he's not. He's a good player. He is a good player. He
The
just
contract's crazy though.
he makes a lot of money. Yeah,
A lot
he
of
has
money.
knee issues. He has a bulky knee. I just don't trust it too much.
Just
Yeah.
coming to the Knicks, he would blow out both his knees at the press conference.
That would be yes. That in the press conference exactly. You trip on the step going up the step, blow out his knee, and that'd be it. It'd be over.
And I'm a Levine fan. Trust, I love that.
I think he's a killer, man.
I like watching him play. I just when I hear knees and I hear a big contract, I just we've seen it. We've seen this story. Look at Allen Houston. Signed a big deal.
Yeah, I mean,
And then the injuries occur. And then this has just been. I just want the healthiest guy coming in and signing a contract that makes sense because he's young and he can get that big deal. I had no problem with signing RJ or Mitch, because I figured that for the life of that contract, they're going to play well. And even Brunson's contract, I didn't think it was bad. But a guy like Levine, when you're bringing those type of guys in, it's like LeBron. LeBron would come here, he's playing at 30, 40 years of age, and he's like averaging 45 points. He comes to the Knicks, he's tearing his Achilles right out the gate. He's going to trip over a Nick Dancer, Achilles torn, retiring. I mean, he just wouldn't. It's the Knicks. It's what
something bad would happen. Something bad. It's weird. We bring him up. He had 38 tonight. Levine at 38 tonight.
Oh, he's fantastic, though. I mean, I think now I'm going to go on this line with Craig. Would he give a pop of excitement to this lineup?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Would he make the fans? I think he would make the fans. Because he's
an
an exciting player, but
he doesn't play that way anymore.
Yeah, I don't think
he used to be much more explosive.
We're talking about Levine or LeBron?
Well, LeBron would be exciting for anybody, any team, whether you like him or not. You just got to say
he's going to bring the excitement.
But Levine, again, old Zach Levine, young Zach Levine, who had more spring and attacked the basket more. Yes, that guy would be a great addition. But this version of him, no, and he makes too much money for me. I'm not looking at a guy like that.
Like $240 million or some craziness.
I think it's 215 or something. It's some ridiculous. It's some like for me. It's like if the Knicks made a move and they include it quickly, I'd want to get back a guy that can possibly play two positions and add some scoring and some toughness to this team. I think that's one of the things. I mean, as much as we seem like we're a tough team, I think we need a lot more toughness. Or maybe Beasley's a really good shooter. He comes with when guys have trouble off the court. I'm a little worried about bringing them in, because you never know when they go off the grid. But maybe a guy like Jordan Clarkson.
But can you trust Utah? I mean, again, I'm being dead serious. Like I'm really. Can we trust Utah not with
a big deal? Not with a big deal.
I'm going to for a low level deal.
Yeah. A deal that won't cost you all your assets. Yeah. But you can't. The Knicks will always have a tough time facilitating a trade for a star. That's never going. I don't even care if it's any team. They're going to try to milk New York for every ounce, or milk them to the point that another team comes in and makes their bid higher. We've always been leveraged in the league, so I don't expect anyone to ever give us a fluid, easy deal to get a deal done. I just don't see it happening.
I'm waiting for
Towns.
No, I said Towns. And yeah, I'd make that trade for him. But I'm waiting for the Trae Young thing to kind of bubble up.
The trade deadline or the summer?
That probably won't be till the summer. So
it'll probably be the summer. But you heard me tell you the other day, Phoenix is something to watch. I don't. Phoenix. I mean, they beat Golden State last night, but
they're not trading Booker.
So they're going to trade somebody. Somebody's got to go.
Yeah, it's going to be Ayton most likely. Ayton's going to be the one to go.
Yeah, what can they get for him though? I don't think other than Indiana's the only team. I wouldn't pay Ayton. Would you pay Ayton? I wouldn't.
You already paid him.
No, I mean, would you trade to pay for him? I wouldn't pay for him.
I mean, I don't know. I'd need to talk to him because on talent, yes, I would trade for him.
Talent-wise, yeah. But I don't think
I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what the issue is. So I would need to know I need to talk to him and be like, okay, what's really going on there? Because, we need to, if we're going to make this investment and trade for you, I want to know exactly what happened that soured you with Phoenix. And I don't want to hear about rumors, innuendo, whatever. I want to know exactly what you feel happened. Like, tell me what went on. And then I'd make a decision based off of that. Like, I would not just trade him like off the top. Like, yeah, okay, he's, talented guy, can rebound, score, whatever. Yeah. I'll take big man, all that stuff. No, what happened? Like, tell me what happened. And then go from there.
Is he
That's
CAA? I said, is he CAA? Because now I'm just looking for all. Because essentially, if stuff like that's going to happen, it's going to be,
Well, if it was CAA, it might have been done by now.
Yeah, I think if it was CAA, he might have been here already. But I mean,
he might have been here because there was rumors over the summer.
Phoenix could also be a team that helps facilitate a deal. Phoenix has all their pick. They could be also a team that maybe you will see Phoenix give Ayton to maybe Minnie for a Cat because Cat wants to play with Booker.
Yeah,
they're 21. They're a 500 team right now, Phoenix, without Booker.
Yep.
So I mean, they're getting destroyed by not destroyed, but yeah, I guess 16 points is kind of big by the Nuggets right now. So
most teams are going to get destroyed, but the Nuggets right now.
That team is just
they're starting them. Mike Malone's an underrated coach, man. I mean,
no, they are. I mean, again, they have the best player in basketball. He doesn't look like he should be the best player in basketball,
but he is.
He is the best player. And if all things are being equal, he's not the most talented guy. But when you add his height to the factor and his bulk and his ability to shoot the ball, pass the ball, he's a good defensive player, which boggles my mind. But he is.
No, he is.
Like all of those things you put together, he's the best. There's no as much as we love Giannis and as athletic and as he is, and as much of a bulldog as Giannis is, he hasn't an eighth of the talent that Jokic has.
I hate to say this. I love Giannis. I think he's very overrated in a lot of ways. And I know he gets the buckets. I know he gets all those points. But that dude is so flawed to watch. Like I said, if they call the traveling rule, that dude would be definitely not the high level player that people tout him as. He would not. He travels most of the game, which I think is kind of crazy when you think about it. He can't shoot. It's all physicality and this mirage that he's extremely athletic and nimble. And he's Magic Johnson at 7 foot tall.
Well, he does suck the defense in, which makes him a really good passer, right?
I'm not going to take away his athleticism. He's a fantastic athlete.
But basketball play.
Basketball, that's it, Craig. The basketball part of it, he's like a tall 7 foot Russie.
Yeah, he handles the ball pretty well. He's bigger and faster than everybody else most of the time. So yeah, it's all based off of that. I mean, but tonight he had 7 points and they won the game. I mean, he had 18 rebounds, 10 assists, and they won the game.
Well, you heard me say the other night when he played the Knicks, I told Eric, I said, if Giannis does not come out and do too much, that Milwaukee is going to win. I thought where they would lose is if he came out and tried to take over the game. I was like, they won't beat the Knicks. But if he allows the other guys just to play and he's a decoy and just plays, Milwaukee's a better team when he tries to do less.
He should be like that's what he should be. Like what he did tonight, that's what he should do.
That's what Randall should do.
That's what he should do. Just focus on rebounding. He's a good passer. He makes good decisions with the basketball. So, I mean, he had 10 assists. This guy's 7 feet tall practically. He had 10 assists and only 1 turnover. I mean,
he's got good vision. He can defend. I think that's what he should become more of now is just a defensive beast. I mean, what is they're going to lose because he plays like a defensive beast? They're probably going to win more games to get more guys involved. I never liked the idea that he took the ball and dribbled a lot. I thought that was just being cute because I'm like, yeah, you're great. You can do it, but that don't mean you should do it. That's the thing. I think you need to allow your point guards to play their position and you play your position and feed off of that. Now, if you got a mismatch on a plotting 5 or whatever, you could take them. I don't think you should be dribbling up the court and act like you're going to start the offense. You need to defer that to another person.
All right, so let's play this game real quick, and then
Mhm.
we'll shut this one down. So let's play this game real quick. So if there was I want one player in the league who you think is attainable via trade,
Mhm.
and who that would be for you, and then I want another player in the league who you
Mm.
personally would want, who probably isn't attainable. So it'd be like a pie in
Yeah.
the sky. That's the guy I want right now. And let's not use let's not use like Luca, and those are all the easy ones.
Yeah.
One tier down from that. One tier down from that.
Hmm.
All right, Craig, you go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Craig go on that one first. I got to think about that one myself.
Towns and Booker.
Okay.
I think you could get Towns, but it has to be up to him to say I want. You know what I mean? And he just doesn't seem to be doing that right now. And Booker, I think he would fit very well on this team, but he's definitely unattainable.
Yeah, especially because he just extended. It'd be hard
Yeah,
to get him.
I'm not getting that jersey. I mean,
you can get a Phoenix one. The Suns have nice jerseys. You can
yeah, I might get one of those, but it'll never be in. He'll never be in the.
At least it's not Melvin Booker, right? Like now you have a good Booker to get the jersey for.
Wow. So he said Cat and Booker. Oh,
those
man.
are two good ones actually. Those are
too
ones.
good. I mean, obtainable.
Yeah.
I don't know if they.
I think Cat's obtainable. I agree with Craig. I think you could get
Cat
him.
probably is the one obtainable person.
Booker, I don't think is obtainable at all.
So.
So we're talking about. Trying to think of a player that could be obtainable by the Knicks. I mean, we've talked about OG. He's probably obtainable. I think the Knicks will probably get raked over the coals to get him like he's a star. So it's like, I don't think the Knicks will not get raked over the coals. I think everybody's gonna be a star. But I mean, if you're thinking about a guy, I think like a guy like, if we're talking about Emmanuel quickly being traded, and maybe throwing in Cam Reddish, a guy like Jordan Clarkson might be pretty good coming off the bench to help the Knicks. He's under the radar player. He's a tough player, 3-point shooter. Probably not on a terrible contract. I mean, you could add him possibly in. I do like the dude from also from Portland. What is his name? He's the leading rebounding guard. Is it Josh Hart? Josh Hart?
Hart, yes, Josh Hart.
Hart would be under the radar signing of a guy who possibly can come in off the bench. Won't require you to do much to run plays for him. Just brings a level of toughness. Maybe a guy like Gary Trent also. Another guy you can maybe bring in. Give you some toughness also.
The shooting, yeah.
Ball won't demand a lot of shots. And I know I joked about Pippen, but Beasley would not be a bad pickup. He's talking about guys you can get for not putting up. You don't have to give a lot up to get these guys.
Those are the moves they should be making. Sorry.
So who's your star guy then? Who's the star?
Oh, if I'm doing star,
that you can't get. But
that they can't get.
Yeah, like the unobtainable player that they can't get. That let's keep out like Luka, Giannis. We know those guys are clearly not obtainable. But someone who's borderline, but you pretty much isn't not obtainable.
I'm gonna probably say because we're hearing it fall out. I know it would be the smallest backcourt in Knicks history, but it might be Trae Young I would go for. Only because I think that he is available. I think he wants to be available. I think
so too.
I think he wants out of Atlanta. The kind of package it would take to get him, I don't know if any one team has that package. I know they floated some rumor today about Craig's boy packaging Tyler Hero and what's his name, Lowry to Miami for Trae Young. That was one of the packages somebody did.
What?
A mock. Well, it was a mock rumor. I'm just saying that people.
The hero part makes sense.
The hero part, not the other one, but
the hero part.
But that's something to think about along those lines. That I think it's letting you know that he is available. The kind of package that it would take is a good question. I know people are going to say, "Oh, we got Brunson." Brunson is our best point guard that we've had in a long time, but he's not the best point guard that we need because he's dynamite. but he's a scoring guard at the end of the day. He's a scoring guard. The Knicks need a floor general still. And I'm not knocking Brunson. He's aces. I mean, he's closing games, but he's closing games the same way we want Julius and RJ to close games. That you're doing the clutch plays, clutch shots, and you're finishing, and you're carrying your team on your back. But what this team still needs is a person that can get everybody their shot. Everybody can get hot. Oh, I know this guy needs to get fed. There's times where you watch Brunson go down the court, and to me, it would be great to get a guy like Quentin Grimes a lot more shots because now the game opens up differently. Defenses can't zero in on you when everybody is possibly hot, and we don't ever see that in the Knicks down in the stretch. That who we guarding, where's the ball going? There was like it's going to Brunson. We're going to either play him to make him miss or play him to the point he runs out the clock and gets off either a bad shot or a bad pass. That's how they're playing him because they know he's going to be the end all and be all to the whole offense. But imagine a guy like Trae Young. You don't know who's going to get off the ball. He might get hot. He might say, RJ, I'm going to get you a bucket tonight. I'm going to go get you Mitchell Robinson a bucket. I mean, how many not – RJ's the only guy who throws lobs to Mitch right now. And we have a point guard.
It's true.
I mean, what Capella eats off of Trae Young. I mean, his whole career right now is Trae Young. When you go in there, you know that, and you can't stop it. So imagine why is Mitch not having those same moments with a guy like Brunson? So I'm taking Trae Young. I'm just going to have one of the smallest backcourts in the league and make you chase me around and try to guard me. And I'm going to try to outscore you to death. I mean, Golden State does a lot of that, outscoring guys. You know, they're an older team. It's not like Trae's like Gary Payton. I mean, I'm sorry, it's Curry's Gary Payton. You know, he's not the best. He's not a great defensive guard. He's miniature. Let it go. I'd go get Trae. Hey, if you want to keep Brunson, keep Brunson. But I would use some of those assets to get a star because Trae Young at the end of the day is a star.
Yeah, get their picks back quickly, Randall, Grimes. I'm sorry.
So
go ahead. It's your turn. No, I'm done.
Those are all good.
No, so
no, the guy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Quickly, Randall. What? 5 first. You know, whatever. Just make it work. Going out.
All right. The guy who I'd love to get who's unobtainable is LaMelo Ball, just because I think at Madison Square Garden he would be forget it. Like it would be like Jason Williams 2.0 in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know, white chocolate. I think he would just be so much fun to be here.
Yeah.
And you would completely unlock Obi and Mitch and in that kind of a setting. So LaMelo is the guy I would love to get, which is crazy because I've done a complete 180. I'd never wanted him. I thought he'd be trash. And now he's one of my favorite players to watch. So the guy who I think is obtainable and I think would be a good fit. Again, he's not athletic, which is the one problem I have, but we got to see him in a couple times the past few weeks. Is Keldon Johnson from the Spurs.
Yeah.
I really like this kid.
Yeah.
He's young. He's 23 years old. He's about to get paid, I think, or he just got paid, but it's not like a super high contract. I don't think anyone on the Spurs is untouchable. I think they would trade any of those guys that they have. And that's the other thing. He comes from the Greg Popovich school of basketball. So anytime you add someone like that to any kind of organization, I think that would be a good get. And he's an all-star level player. So I could see that being a good get for them. So those are the two guys, because I think he's obtainable. And LaMelo just isn't. Not at this point anyway. He's going to have to be the guy that's the one who says, yeah, I want out of here. And then if that happens, well, it might happen. It might be coming. But if that happens, then I think we have something to talk about. But
yeah, LaMelo would be very exciting to pair with. I mean, he could play off the ball. He could be that second. Brunson could play off the ball.
Brunson would, you could play Brunson off the ball.
Brunson can play. He's played. The thing about I think people miss with Brunson is that he played with Luka. Luka's very tough to play with.
Right.
So he was the off guard playing with Luka.
Right.
That's really what it came down to. So I don't know. I mean, LaMelo would be pretty exciting. That's for sure. I could imagine the Garden being lit if they're playing an athletic game. I mean, half court game. I don't know if I want to see that. I want to see a fast break game.
Well, that's what I mean. To me, if the Knicks, if they want to start winning with the team that they have, that's the kind of way I think they need to play.
Oh, I agree.
So if you move on from, like, Randall's the one guy who's probably their best half court player. Brunson is more of a half court player too, but I think he could fit in any style.
Yeah,
like, I think he could kind of fit in either style where, because he's a big dude. When he attacks the basket, if he's driving the basket, he could take shots. He finishes well, even though he's got his array of teardrops and floaters and all that stuff. So I think he's more of a half court player, but a traditional half court player.
He can
mix it up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so let's do our closing thoughts and wrap this one up. So, Craig, I'll start with you. Closing thoughts.
I just want the Knicks to make the playoffs and make a trade.
Oh, you wanted to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the Tankathon. They got the 20th pick and
20th is really that
20 and 22nd.
Ty, what are you doing, man? You're slacking on the Tankathon.
That Joe Budal is not working. I'm trying to tell you.
At this point, package those picks.
Joe
And just try to get a shot. Try to get a shot in the arm. Whatever. I don't know. Just make the playoffs because that's what they're trying to do anyway. And make a trade in the offseason. I mean, and do something at the trade deadline. I can't do another trade deadline. We do nothing.
Well, their next game that they play was quote unquote tough. I mean, they could lose to anybody, but it's quote unquote tough. Is
Washington.
Cleveland?
Oh, Cleveland. No, that's a tough one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on the 24th. They play Cleveland on the 24th, which is their
That's
next
at
kind
home.
of
Is that at home?
That's at home, yeah. So that's their next quote unquote tough matchup that they have coming up. So, if they make some headway with these next games and they win, they go for 1, 2, 3, 4,
I can't get the L's again. They're gonna lose that game.
There's 6 games before they play Cleveland. If they can go 4-2 there, I mean,
yeah, they're gonna lose against Cleveland. Cleveland's
coming back
after that loss.
Yeah,
that's a nice little run they could have going to that. What is the record now? 23. So it'd be 27-21.
It's not bad.
That'd be pretty good going into that, because then they play Cleveland. Hold on, they play Cleveland, Brooklyn. Then they play the Lakers at home. Then they play Miami at home. Like the schedule gets a little bit tougher from that point. So
yeah, they got a little tough, and then they get a lighter schedule, I think, later after that.
Yeah, so they gotta make some move here if they're gonna be relevant this season, going down the stretch to reach Craig's lofty goals.
You have to. They got to do something. I cannot have another trade deadline where you're not. And I'm not saying for the sake of making a trade. I'm not doing this as a.
Yes, you are.
No, you are great, Craig.
I promise. I'm not being.
You want the code red. You want the code red, Craig.
I'm not being a fiend, but you can't keep doing what you're doing.
Trader Craig.
Trader Craig.
It's the mismanagement of assets.
Trader Joe. Trader Craig.
It's only mismanagement. I just want to for the quick use of mismanagement. It's only mismanagement of assets if they keep the picks and they don't draft well. If they keep the picks and they draft well, it's not mismanagement, because then you have players now who are assets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have they're no longer just pie in the sky air. You actually have something tangible behind it. So I agree with you right now. Like the allure of the I can't even talk. Possibility is what you're selling now, right? If you have these picks, the possibility of drafting a great player, that's what you're selling. So you're right, that the unknown is often better. But if they draft well,
which they've known to do with this front office, I give them credit. But
yeah, they've been better.
They drafted well. The drafting has not been the issue, really.
So, all right, closing thoughts, Ty.
Well, I mean, this team is probably going to make some level of the playoff. It's probably either between, like we said, 6 or the play in. If they could get more consistent at home, that would definitely. But I don't buy them being consistent at home. We've watched too many of these games where by now they should figure out what home court should be like, and that they should, be able to nail it home, literally. And they found more success on the road. I just don't. I can't trust watching games like tonight when our big three is in and Brandon RJ is just coming in on the tail end of off an injury or whatever. But needless to say, this should have been a dominant win when their best player is not playing great. and we didn't see that. Eric brought up one of the best points. He says that he doesn't think the Knicks have the awareness that every other team is coming in bringing their A game and want to, stomp the yard in Madison Square Garden. And I don't think this team is, maybe they're starting to get it a little bit, but I don't think they have the full awareness that, hey, out the gate, we're coming to stomp a mud hole in their arse. And, we're not going to let them come in here and start to feel great about themselves. The Knicks have not shown that. They have not shown that, and they've shown that they played down the competition and maybe not played up enough to certain competitive teams. So, yeah, I think they'll make it into the tail end of the playoffs if they can get through these next few games and stay above 500. I picked this to be a 41-win team. That's good enough to get into the playoffs, then they will. But, they're still ironing out certain aspects, and this coach's limitations will always be an issue with this team. I don't care which way you go. They can have the greatest run in the world, and I don't trust their coach. He's not going to adjust enough.
I agree with you. You know that. So I think what we've seen recently with the win streak, then the losing streak, then another win streak, then the hiccup against Milwaukee where they could have won the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know what this team is. We're 32 games in now. I think we know what they are, which is what we kind of thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
So my only thing is, from this point going forward, like I said, they have these nice little bump of games against lesser teams.
Mm-hmm.
If they do well during this stretch, if they do, like I said, 4-2,
yeah,
going into that next stretch of games, I think we will have they have a shot at 6 and maybe just sneaking in and not having to go in the play-in. I think we're going to have that kind of going to have that kind of an impact. If they stumble and start losing to these kinds of teams, then my hope for the team is that they just say, forget this crap and start making moves and Trader Craig over here and, getting all that. Because, like I said, 32 games after this, they'll be around 40. Then you're talking about, it's an 82-game season, so you're fully at the halfway point, right? I think you have to look at that. Oh, no, actually, I think we're already there. So what's ever going forward now, they have to start making that push to be in the top 6.
Mm-hmm.
If they fall out of that, I don't think the play-in is something you should shoot for. So my closing thoughts are: do well on this stretch, go for it. Like, go try and make the playoffs and see what you can do. But if you stumble, just blow it up. Just blow it up. That's where I'm at. All right. So Craig, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Trays_Sun28.
Yes.
That's it.
That's all. We need to get you on like Instagram and Vero and no, I'm kidding. Anyway, Mastodon, all the new kinds of stuff that they have. All right, Ty, go ahead.
You can find me at Genius Scribble on Twitter. No, although I don't tweet a lot. You can also find me on our fan page, writing articles, trying to engage our fan base. Trying to drum up some fires there that hopefully we can get a little smoke going on. So come check us out and be miserable with the rest of us. How you doing?
So Ty, in the group, I don't know if in the group, but if you do them on the page, you can share them to your page. You can share them to any one of our pages. So if you want to do that, you could always just throw that in there and also share it to the group, which you've done before. So you want to do that, you have that option there as well. All right, guys, you see my info down here, right here.
Right here.
My name, my Twitter account, the show's Twitter account. I also have a show I do called Straight Outta Gotham. It's pop culture, comic book movies, all that fun stuff. At @straight_O_G is the Twitter handle for that. Check us out there. As Ty mentioned, check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube as well. All of our shows are on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube, you can hit it up, watch us there, like and subscribe, and you'll get alerts every time a show begins for us because we do broadcast on YouTube as well. And interact with us in the group. If you're in the group already, come find us, talk to us. I feel like there's a lot of good discussion to be had. I know there's a lot of groups out there that discuss Knicks, but I think all of them are trash. So come and come and interact with us.
Basura.
Come and interact with us and have a good time, and we'll make a fun little community, a nice little respectful community over at the All Knicked Up Facebook group. So that's all for this week. So for Craig and Ty, I'm Eric. You're watching All Knicked Up, and we'll see you next time.